Tale of Baldur and Number 39's Death. Baldur, youngest son of Odin and goddess Frigga, is the god of light and peace, is the god of beautiful and wise children. At that time, Baldur suddenly became extremely worried because he had strange nightmares for several nights in a row. Baldur suddenly saw a large cloud flying over to cover the sun, and the whole Asgard heaven was plunged into darkness. Baldur looked up and waited for the dark clouds to fly away and the sun to shine the same rays of light. But no, the dark clouds were still thick and I thought the sun was gone forever. God suddenly woke up. My heart was infinitely sad. The next night, another nightmare. This time I saw that everything was still in darkness like the night before. In addition, I noticed that the flowers were withered and the gods became old. Iduna and Number 39's apples did not make them young. Again. Everywhere we saw the sound of crying and twisted hands, as if something terrible had just happened. Baldur suddenly woke up and, like the night before, felt extremely sad. However, I did not confess a single word to my wife, Nanna. I was the only one who knew. On the third night, the nightmare was kept quiet. Baldur still saw the sun obscured, the clouds of sadness swirling, everything withered, and there was still a sad cry. And quote, "The sun is gone, spring is gone, joy is gone, for the sake of the young and beautiful god." And quote, Baldur has passed away. This time, Baldur let out a scream of terror and then came to his senses. My wife, Nanna, asked the reason. God told me all the nightmares of 3 consecutive nights. Nanna also covered her face and cried in worry and ran to Queen Frigga and #39's room, Baldur and Number 39's mother, to tell the story. When the queen heard the dream ending, she became even more frightened and worried. Baldur was the queen and Number 39's favorite child. In fact, because Baldur is the youthful god of light, both wise and lovely, wherever he appears, he brings happiness, so it can be said that it is not only about the gods but also about all things on earth. The world loves God. That and Number 39's why Queen Frigga exclaimed, and quote, "Impossible, Baldur, my son is so adorable. How could he die? I will travel throughout the universe, to ask all creatures to promise me that they will dawn and Number 39's do anything to harm my child and Number 39's life." End quote. So the next day the queen gathered all the gods in the field of Ida. After clearly telling the gods about Baldur and Number 39's 3 nights of nightmares, the queen only asked the gods one thing: to promise not to do anything to hurt Baldur. Hearing that, the gods cried out, and quote, "Hurt Baldur, the god of pure, joyful youth? Never! Who would do that? And those nightmares, too, are all lies." End quote. Even though he shouted so loudly, deep down the gods also felt that he was embarrassed. Perhaps the gods were only reassured when Queen Frigga met all things and heard all the promises. Indeed, Queen Frigga has not forgotten a single thing in this world. The queen has encountered wind, rain, fire, water, iron, and other metals. The queen has met rocks, trees, diseases, animals, birds, poisonous substances, reptiles. They all swore not to do anything to harm Baldur and Number 39's health. Queen Frigga returned with peace of mind. When the gods heard the news, they all cheered as if they had just won a big battle with the frost giants. The gods gathered again at the Ida plain. And to prove the love of all things to Baldur, the gods found a truly interesting game. Baldur was invited to stand in the middle, his face as cheerful and radiant as the sun, his hand not holding an inch of iron. Meanwhile, the gods took turns using wooden sticks, wooden bows, arrows, iron spears, stones. Continuously attacking Baldur. Just as all things promised, nothing could touch Baldur and number 39's skin. As soon as the wooden stick touched the god and number 39's shoulder, it broke in half. The arrows that were shot automatically rose above his head. The stones thrown at him fell gently at the god and number 39's feet, and the spears that came flying fell to the side. The exciting game lasted for a long time. Only a few moments later the above dangerous weapons were thrown, rushed, and shot and fell in high and low piles around Baldur. It and number 39's amazing. But among the cheering gods, there was only one person who stood still, neither smiling nor shouting. That and number 39's Loki. Loki was jealous. Why did the gods and all things love the god Baldur so much, and hate him so often? Loki developed an evil intention to cause Baldur to die, even though Baldur never once expressed hatred towards Loki. So while the gods continued their harmless game around Baldur, Loki slipped away, disguised himself as an old woman, and limped to Queen Frigga and #39's castle, started a conversation, and tactfully asks, "And Quat? Are you sure? And Quat? Can the queen achieve the promise of everything? I and number 39's am afraid it and number 39's unlikely. God Baldur is already very wonderful, no one can harm anything, but who knows, you have to be very thoughtful to avoid regretting later." And Quat. Queen Frigga saw that the old woman was very pleased to praise her son. Unknowingly falling for the trick, she said, "And Quat, old woman, I have indeed met all things and been promised all things, except for one very small and weak thing. It and number 39's very harmless, so I and number 39's ignore it." And Quat. The old woman softly asks, "And Quat, what is that harmless little thing, Your Majesty?" And Quat. Queen Frigga said honestly, "And Quat, it is a delicate mistletoe growing on a branch of an ancient oak tree in eastern Valhalla." And Quat. After hearing that, the old woman left, hurried to the eastern oak tree, immediately recognized the mistletoe, cut it down, and sharpened it into the shape of a green arrow. The old woman laughed evilly and said, "And Quat, ho ho, it turns out that among all things, there is only this mistletoe branch left, because it is so small that it does not need to be promised. So, mistletoe branch, today you will follow my command that conveys a and Quat. Message of love and Quat, from me to Baldur, and Quat." The old woman returned to the Ida plain. The fun continued noisily. Only Hoder, Baldur and number 39's blind brother stood alone in a corner as if forgotten. The old woman came over and asked in a hoarse voice why Hoder didn't and #39's join the fun. Hoder said sadly, "And Quat, I and number 39's they been blind since birth, so even though I have plenty of strength, I and number 39's they never used weapons. In the current fun, I can and number 39's see Baldur to throw anything, and there and number 39's nothing in it. And Quat, hand to throw and Quat." Loki made a hoarse voice and said, "And Quat, I am just an old woman who came to watch the fun with nothing in my hand. Here, I have a beautiful soft branch of mistletoe, please take it and follow my lead." And quat. So the two joined the circle running around Baldur. When it was Hoder and number 39's turn to throw the soft mistletoe arrow, the old woman held the back of his elbow to guide him. Her witch and number 39's hand made the sharp little arrow, and number 39's helmet soar to its destination as fast as light. Through the outer layer of clothing, through the inner layer of clothing to finally pierce straight into the heart. Baldur died instantly. Loki disappeared. The roar of the gods and number 39's fierce anger before the tragedy. Hoder was shocked and trembling and asked, and quat, "What and number 39's wrong? What and number 39's wrong? Did I do something wrong?" And quat. The voices of the gods screamed, and quat. "You have killed your brother. Baldur is dead." And quat. Hoder choked up and said, and quat, "I killed my brother? There was an old woman who gave me a small harmless tree branch and directed my elbow towards Baldur so I could throw it jokingly. That woman was definitely a witch." And quat. Hearing this, the gods quickly scattered in all directions to look for the witch, but she had already disappeared. Only the wise god Heimdall suspected and immediately guessed that the evil act could not be attributed to anyone other than Loki. Queen Frigga wept bitterly and asked the gods if there was anyone, who immediately went down to the underworld to ask Hela to allow Baldur to return to Asgard. God Hermod quickly volunteered to find me. God Hermod is also the son of Odin. Hermod was allowed to use his father and number 39's horse Sleipnir. This horse has 8 legs and runs faster than the wind. I walked for 9 days and nights down into the abyss. The path was so dark that I could N and #39 distinguish one thing from another. Then Hermod went to the Gjöll River and rode his horse across the gilded bridge. The daughter holding the bridge asked the god and number 39's name, then complained that the day before there were 5 groups of dead people crossing this bridge, but the bridge could not be moved by the god alone. Then she asked, and quat, "But you and number 39's not dead yet, why are you going to hell?" And quat. Hermod replied, and quat. "I came here to find my brother Baldur." "Did you see my brother passing here?" And quat. The daughter replied, and quat. "Yes. Baldur crossed this bridge and followed that road to the underworld." And quat. Hermod continued to walk towards the gates of hell, which were blocked by iron bars. Hermod then held the reins tightly and urged the horse to jump through the gate. Hermod headed straight to the castle to meet Baldur. Baldur sat in a special armchair. The 2 brothers slept overnight together. The next morning, Hermod asked Hela for permission to let Baldur return, because all creatures, without exception, mourned for Baldur. Hela replied, and quat, "We must try to see if Baldur is really loved by everyone like that. If indeed everyone loves and cries, then Baldur will be resurrected. But if there is only one thing that does not cry, Baldur will have to stay in the underworld." And quat. Government forever. And quat. Hermod returned to Asgard and told the gods everything. The gods sent messengers everywhere, asking everything to cry for Baldur to return. People, animals, soil, stone, metal. All cried as if being brought from a cold place to a hot place. On the way back, the messengers met an old witch calling herself Thaukt sitting in a cave, and asked her to cry for Baldur. But she replied, "And quat, Thaukt will cry Baldur with dry tears. Let Hela keep him, and quat." Everyone suspected that this witch was Loki, who always harassed the gods. So Baldur was not allowed to return to Asgard. All of Baldur and Number 39's brothers and sisters gathered together to carry Baldur and Number 39's ship, the World, and Number 39's largest ringhorny, down to the beach. The body will be placed on a pyre set up in the middle of the ship. But at that time, all the gods gathered together but could not push the ship into the water. Odin said, "And quat, even the giants mourned Baldur. I heard the thunder of their cries. So please, gods, put aside all hatred against that race of people and ask them to help us push the boat." And quat, this to the sea, and quat. A messenger was sent to Jotunheim, and the strongest giantess in that land named Hyrrokin volunteered to help. She rides a giant wolf, whose reins are a snake. When she got there, she quickly jumped down and grabbed the bow of the ship, pulling her hard out to sea. The heavy ship suddenly turned and drifted. The bottom of the ship was crushed hard on the rocks. Fire flew out in all four directions, and when the ship entered the water, it smoothly drifted out to sea, causing the gods to panic and think they had lost the ship. Luckily, Hyrrokin waded quickly into the sea, leaned out and grabbed the stern of the ship. Then Baldur and Number 39's body was brought onto the ship and placed on a pyre consisting of colorful rolls of silk and wool, sparkling with gold thread, skillfully woven by the dwarves themselves. Nanna was placed by the gods next to her husband. Baldur and Number 39's warhorse was also strapped to it with a silver saddle studded with diamonds so that it would lead its master on the road to the dark world of Hela. God Thor pulled out his hammer. A spark of fire fell from the hammer blade and burned the pile of precious silk. Suddenly, the fire flared up high, illuminating the radiant faces of Baldur and Nanna. Finally, Odin placed his gift on the pyre. That is the golden Draupnir bracelet. Every 9 nights 8 other bracelets fall out, also made of pure gold, as beautiful and bright. And quat, when he put down the Draupnir bracelet, Odin said, "And quat, please keep this treasure with you. Descend to the world of Hela. Dawn and Number 39's ever forget the precious loved ones you left behind in Asgard." And quat. Then Hyrrokin pushed the ship. The ship, sparkling with countless treasures under the glorious firelight, floated out to sea, illuminating the entire dome. On the beach, standing in the front row were the gods. The god Odin and Queen Frigga, the god Valkyrio with 2 ravens, the god Frey with a chariot pulled by a golden-maned boar, the god Heimdall riding the horse Gulltopp, the goddess Freya with a cat-drawn carriage. Behind the gods were a group of dwarves and a group of frost giants. Everyone forgot all about the past conflicts and hatred, only seeing everyone and Number 39's eyes filled with tears as they looked at the train carrying the corpses. Baldur was slowly disappearing below the horizon and the water surface met. Soon the ship and Number 39's silhouette completely disappeared, leaving behind only a pink area of light reaching the top of the sky. It was truly a heavenly sunset. Young and beautiful Baldur died. Asgard and Number 39's heavenly court was plunged into the endless darkness of eternal grief and sorrow. Note: in world mythology, there are rarely stories that describe death as both glorious and fierce as the story "The Death of the God Baldur" above. That both glorious and fierce nature reflects so loyally the arrogant and haughty lifestyle of the northern European people, homeland of the Viking pirates who have gone down in history. From a symbolic perspective, it is possible that the above story is similar to the story of Persephone, the symbol of spring, of Greece. During the 4 months when Persephone went to the underworld with her husband, on Earth it was a snow-covered winter, with the vegetation fading. But it is also possible that the above story is to symbolize the scene where both gods, humans and all things are destroyed when the future ice age comes. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.